I found that there's three main reasons why certain dietary changes for people with psoriasis don't work. Okay, and what I mean by this is I recommend something, or I give you an eating plan, or another doctor says follow a keto eating plan, or follow a carnivore eating plan, or a vegetarian eating plan, whatever it might be. Because I've seen from patients coming in, all those things have worked. But I got you three reasons for no matter what diet you're doing, why it might not be working for you. And this is the most common thing with psoriasis: is somebody follows an eating plan and they say it doesn't work. But I tell you this, it could be that you're just not giving it time. However, but let's say you've given it time and it's still not working. Here's the three main reasons why I believe that this is happening for people. And this is just from people asking, hey, they're asking me questions like, hey, I've followed this eating plan, but it's not working. And so my first thought goes to, maybe it's not that it's not working, maybe it wasn't the answer, or when we start to deep dive into it, maybe you're doing it wrong. There's a thought there, right? So the first thing is that the diet is not specific to you, okay? And so what I mean by that is, if I say, I like to recommend, I use something called, I call it the gut healing diet, okay? And it's specific for patients with digestive issues. It's foods that are easy to digest, just in general, right? And if you want that, ask me below in the comments, I'll send it to you. But more importantly, that eating plan is foods that are easier to digest, but it might not be foods that are, for you, not causing inflammation, meaning everybody's different in how their body's responding to things. And so number one, specific to you means, first of all, when you're eating something, if it feels like you're feeling bloated after you eat it, if it feels like your body's just not doing well with it, maybe you feel inflamed, maybe you feel fatigued after eating that day, then take that food out. That means your body's probably not doing well with it. The second thing you can do is actually go get tested. Do food allergy testing. I know that some doctors say that food allergy testing, it doesn't have enough science behind it. It hasn't been proven. Look, I've read plenty of research on it, but more importantly, I'm a fan of research is great, but I work with patients. I'm in a clinic. I work with people. I don't just read research. Although I love reading research, I see results and I keep with it. If something works, I stick with it. The food allergy test works. That's all I can tell you. It might not be the only answer, but it is a great tool we can use to reduce stress on your body. So get an IgG food allergy test, see what's actually happening in your body. If you want that, comment for it and we'll send something over to you. But getting that tells you individually what foods do you need to start to zero in on for your eating plan, okay? Because it might be keto, but maybe it's keto minus eggs, or maybe it's keto minus broccoli or something like that that's not working good for you. And I talk about that all the time, that, for me, I took eggs out of my diet, which are healthy food. I took black pepper out, which is a natural food. I took lettuce out, which is a healthy food. And guess what? My psoriasis actually went away. Now, that wasn't the only thing that got rid of my psoriasis. I was following a very clean eating plan before. I was exercising, I was working on my mindset, I was doing all the stuff I talk about as well. But for me, the only thing left really to do was to shift my diet a little bit more, and it finally went away. And it's been 6 years now. And trust me, every day I check if it's gone. I have a habit of just looking like, is it still there? Is it gone? I'll fill my head around to make sure there's no new growth. Because as I'm shooting these videos, the last thing I want is to tell you my psoriasis went away and it came back, and then I got to keep doing these videos. I would never do that. But I have been checking regularly. And so I say that only because it gets in your mind space, this psoriasis thing. I feel you. That's the first one. Second thing to shift right here is only partially doing it. And this is a big one. Let's take the keto diet, or let's take the carnivore diet, for instance. I've had patients, they come in, they say, I'm doing the carnivore diet, I did intermittent fasting, and I haven't seen anything change. I have more energy, but that's it. My psoriasis, my psoriasis got worse. So, okay, well, let's say how you're doing it. What kind of meat are you eating? I'm buying burgers, I'm buying the stuff from the grocery store. Okay, is it grass-fed, is it free range, is it organic? Was that animal raised the way it was supposed to be raised? And guess what? It's not. Conventional meat, which is extremely inflammatory and is making them sick to be eating that on a daily basis, especially without vegetables, because the vegetables were the one thing that had antioxidants and all these good nutrients and minerals and things that are going to help break down some of that oxidation that's happening from that food, from the meat they were eating. And so it could be that. It could be a keto diet, and you're eating, nasty bacon and all other stuff. You're kind of doing it as a conventional way of doing it. You got to go clean. You got to go a certain way. So it's partially doing it, or maybe 3 days a week you're eating clean and then you splurge on the weekends, or 5 days a week and then you splurge and eat pizza and things like that. Gluten will stay in your system for a good 7 to 8 days, right? So you say, well, I only have pizza once a week. I have a patient that he said, I'm doing really good. I'm eating really clean. And we started investigating more, looking more in depth why he wasn't getting changes. And he was drinking a beer every single night. Seems fine, right? One beer a night. And he said, yeah, but it's way better than I used to do. I said, well, that's great that it's better than you used to do, but you're still putting that chemical in your body every single day, which means it's never out. It's always there. And so it's just our perception. Sometimes we think we're doing it great. And so the second thing, like I said, is you're only partially doing it. So maybe it's time to go all in. And then the final thing that I'm gonna say, the third reason that people follow an eating plan and it doesn't work is their body's still in a stress response. Even though your eating has gotten clean and you're doing it perfectly, everything is right in terms of what you're eating, right? Meaning you're gluten-free, you're dairy-free. Maybe you're following your food allergy list. You're following what I call the gut healing diet. You're doing that perfectly, right? Maybe you're intermittent fasting. Still, your psoriasis hasn't gone away. Here's why. Because your body's still in a stress response. It's not just the diet. Go back to the videos I've done on stress and understanding that there's more to it than eating. And when it comes to healing psoriasis, it's a part of the puzzle. It's not the only part of the puzzle. And I'm telling you that as an encouragement, meaning if you're following a great eating plan, keep following that eating plan. But it's going to be more to that. It might mean you have to work on some emotional stress techniques. Maybe it's making some change in your life. Maybe your job is just way too stressful and you need a different one. Maybe your spouse is driving you crazy and you guys need to go to counseling. Maybe it's, maybe whatever it is for you, it's an emotional stress, or maybe you're not getting enough sleep, right? Maybe you're sitting way too much. You're sitting in front of a computer all day long. All of these are reasons why your psoriasis could still be there. Right? Maybe you have too much mercury in your system. Maybe you have too much mold in your house. I mean, there's so many I could go on forever of the different stressors that could be keeping you from getting rid of your psoriasis. And that's why, really, guys, at the end of the day, the stuff I'm teaching you is very valuable. And for some of you, it's the game changer. That's all you had to do. But for most people, you're going to need one-on-one support. You're going to need investigating to figure out what it was for you to get rid of that process. So I highly suggest set up a time to consult, right? I have in our links the opportunity to sit down and talk and go through some of these things with you to help you individually.